through my veins. On the pitch where the glory remains, the cockerel stands brave on the crest. North London pride, this ain't no jest. From lane to the new shining ground, echo chants where the legends are found. Heroes carved in the heart of time, we march on through grit and grime. Oh Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. Oh Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. Echoes of King and Greaves in the air. Every goal, the sound declares. Heartbeats pound like a drummer's song, marching forward, fierce and strong. We're the ones who rise in the clash. Numbers running in a white shirt dash. History burns in the roaring crowd. Every game we scream it loud. Oh, Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire.
Good evening and welcome to Awake. Awake of many people, awake of many desires, awake of a club that died a long, long time ago. Yes, we're here mourning the loss of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Yes, we are mourning the loss of our identity. I cannot believe I am saying this, but I am so disillusioned with this football club. I'm not looking forward to Saturday. I think we're going to get whooped. I think we're going to have another bad weekend. I can't take any more of this. And the only man that's keeping me sane is the man next to me. Many have known him as Tequila over the years, but he's not Tequila. He's really Simon Jordan of TalkSport. This is his A-list. So he can come on to little channels like this and speak his mind freely. At the moment, Tequila's in Qatar, doing the latest deal for the channel, trying to get us up to a tenner. Tequila, how are the talks going on with the Qatari prince? Are you getting Billy Bob to give us a bit more money?
I'm trying to get them to back the courage of their convictions, Demo.
Yeah, okay. You've been proud of me tonight, Tequila.
Why?
I was on Dave's fan show earlier, right?
Okay.
And I said the club needs burning and starting from scratch, foundations and everything.
How did that go down?
Everyone agreed. Seriously.
Musketeer.
I said, bring Poch back and start at the beginning. How are you tonight, bud? I know we saw each other earlier, but how are you, bud, anyway?
Okay, just chilling, getting ready for Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. Bit early, but better late than never. If you celebrate it, of course.
Yeah.
Got to say that.
Yeah. Do you know what? I feel sorry for Christmas, Tequila, right? It's the three wise men. I mean, and the donkey. Whatever happened to the donkey? You know, you had Mary and Joseph. They went back to Bethlehem. Did they take the donkey with them? Or what did they do with the donkey? That's what I want to know.
The donkey retired and then started making terrible films like Dr. Dolittle and stuff like that. Did he make Dr. Dolittle?
Right. Yeah.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
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 I
just want to have...
I heard he did a musical version of Shrek as well.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Did Joseph go with him? Because all you heard was Mary and Jesus. You never heard of Joseph, like. I don't know. Anyway, I said I'm not getting into religion. Gets me into trouble. Down below is the next pope of the world. Rain Man is going there. He's going into the Catholic Church next year. He's aiming to become pope. He's not going to bother with becoming a bishop or a top thing. He's just going straight for the jugular. He's going straight for the top job. He says, if they don't give it to me, I'm going to buy them. But how are you tonight, Rain?
You're not too bad. I'd prefer to be the person behind the Pope.
That does not sound right.
And right here, right now, where we are, I don't want to be anywhere near religion, dude. I don't know what you're doing.
I can make so many jokes that would get us thrown off the air. I'm just.
You know what? So could I, Tequila. You've just
no,
given us so much ammunition. You do realise that, Rain? You've given us so much ammo.
Oh, I see. Right, yeah, I didn't get that.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Got a bit of a cold. It's been an interesting 24 hours in Tottenham Hotspur world. I've had a few streams on today whilst I was doing some work. Been entertaining. I echo your sentiments about Saturday, and obviously I'm going. So yeah, that's going to be it's going to be interesting. I'm expecting there to be lots of sold or empty seats around me. I'm expecting there to be lots of people who decide not to go and put
even against one of the big boys,
especially against one of the big boys.
Okay.
I think people will not want to go and on a cold Saturday evening to see us getting beaten up. I suspect. And after the shameless performance from our players yesterday, I wouldn't blame those people.
I wouldn't. Tequila, look, we talked a lot about the game, didn't we, earlier, about the players and the manager. I want to go through it from a fan's point of view. If you were a fan that went up there yesterday, how do you think you'd be feeling leaving there? I mean, they got a free scarf.
Well,
I mean,
that would cheer me up. I got a free scarf.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, there was something. Simon Jordan, the other version of me, the guy who copies me, Simon Jordan. He was talking about like our mate Porro, and it's just like I think Jim White. It was Jim White or Martin O'Neill. One of them said something to me. He goes, "Paid them back, like give them the money." And I'm just thinking about it, and I thought to myself, I didn't do the maths, but I was considering doing the maths of how many fans went up there, how much they paid. I wouldn't charge them for food because they'd have to eat anyway. But if you charge them for the tickets and the petrol money or train fare, however they got there, do you think that would cover 1 week of Porro's wages? I bet it wouldn't.
No.
So if Porro cares so much, he's so grateful to the fans and issues such an apology. How about Porro says, you know what? I'll go give you 3 days. Think about it. 3 days worth of wages and pay all you fans back. Until he offers something like that, then it's more paper. It's more keep talking. Go on, keep opening your mouth. Keep talking. I'd love to see one player actually have the balls to do that, Dermot.
I would.
Just one.
Do you think? Right. Let's put it out there. Do you think the players of yesteryear would have done that?
No.
I don't think there'd be many. No. I don't know if it's zero. But there'd have to be a real like Tottenham lad who literally came up from the youth system, etc., who had some kind of a massive connection with the fans, not some Pedro Porro who come from Portugal, has been with the club 3 years and is not a Spurs fan. Why would he be a Spurs fan? There's no connection to the club. No. I'd like to believe that maybe there might have been a small amount of players throughout history that would have, but it's not the range right. It's not going to be very, very few. I'd like to believe there might have been 1 or 2, but right now, of course not. Who would that be? We haven't got any Spurs lads in the team. Mikey Moore's the only one, maybe, and he's in Rangers.
He's gone to play for a shit team up in Scotland.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you're what you're saying, Rain. Go on, let you come in, bud, and then we're.
Do you think it was a £5 scarf or a £20 scarf?
£5 scarf.
So-
Don't get carried away, mate. They ain't that generous.
Look, the board have given them the dreaded vote of confidence. Guys, it is the dreaded vote of confidence because we know what happens. They get a vote of confidence, then 3 days later, he's out the door. We wanted to hear from them, didn't we, guys? We wanted to hear from the board. But I just don't know what that does. I think it just prolongs the inevitable that he is going to get the sack. One way or the other.
I don't think he's getting sacked, Dermot.
No, neither way.
I know you and Tequila do agree in that. I think he is. This can't go on. You can't sack the players. The fans won't stick up for this much longer. I mean, you've got like me saying I'm disillusioned with the club after 40 odd years. I'm the most delusional, naughty Tottenham fan out of the three of us. I mean, you two are logical and sensible. I'm completely off the scale.
Yeah, but Dermo, don't you think though? I wonder how Rain feels about this. I don't think the fans are angry enough. There's a difference between disappointment and anger. I think the fans.
Okay, yeah.
I think the fans. If I'm wrong, Rain, because I don't go to the games like you. I think the fans are tired. I think they're tired, and I think they're worn. I think they're worn out. I don't think the anger's to those levels yet. I'm not saying it won't get there, but this is how it comes across to me. That just by listening to streams like you, I think there's anger, of course there is, but I think there's also a lot more just. What do we do now? What do we do now? We're going to sack another one. What do we do now? Rather than this furious, like, got to sack him, got to sack him, got to sack him. It's like, what do we do now? That's what it feels like to me. So that's why I don't think he gets sacked. That's why I don't think he gets sacked yet. Because the anger's not quite at that fever pitch yet. It will get there. Of course it will. But I still think we're in that, well, what do we do?
So what happens if the board turn on the fans turn on to the Lewis family on Saturday? If we're getting pumped, right, 5-0 or 4-0, Liverpool turn it on and we get another like 6-3 or 6-2, whatever. And the fans start turning on the board, the Levy, the Lewis children and Vinay and all of them. Do you think then they're going to go back to form and think, right, we're going to sack the manager? That they take the heat off us?
No.
Yeah,
I think if they've got I think if they've got anything about them, they will look to ride. They will look to ride this fan sentiment out. Because if they give in now, then they'll be giving in forever. Because the fans will be turning around. Because nobody I hear talking about this has any expectation that sacking Frank is actually going to make it better. It just feels like something that people want to happen, but they're not actually saying, and it will make it better by X. Because let's face it, the problem yesterday was nothing to do with Frank. The problem yesterday.
I disagree.
The problem yesterday.
Yeah,
okay. But the problem yesterday was that our players can't pass the ball to each other, and can't work and can't analyze situations that they're in. No manager can help players with that. You hire players to do those things and to be competent in doing those things. In terms of tactics were fine. You know, we set up 4-4-2. We set up with a flexible 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1, and that works absolutely fine. Everybody knows what they're doing, but you cannot legislate for Vicario's bozo moments. It cost us against Fulham. Cost us yesterday, 100%. He's cost us in other games. Errors led to the Chelsea loss. You know, it's you cannot. No manager can fix that. No manager can fix Vicario. If you do a still of Archie Gray, of Vicario passing to Archie Gray, right? If you do a still on, then what you see is Vicario passing to Archie Gray with a player directly behind him. Okay, it's got hospital ball written all over it, and there's two Forest players in a triangle. There's more Forest players in the picture than there are Spurs players. And what do we say when you're in a dire situation, Dermot? If in doubt, kick it out.
Yeah. Look, I agree. I mean, Tequila, look, I'll give my thoughts in a minute. Do you agree with what Rain's saying? I do have a different view in that, and I will explain why I want Frank sacked, and I will explain my view in it. Maybe it might help you, maybe help people to understand why I'm like this and why I think the manager will get sacked, and where I can see a future without Frank. Also, I can see that maybe sticking with him is probably a good idea, but I think in the long run, it ain't going to work. But do you agree with much what Rain says, Tequila? Or do you think maybe you need to add something that maybe he hasn't?
Not really. I think what Rain said is pretty much what I said to you earlier in the earlier stream, Dermo, that Thomas Frank can certainly be blamed for substitutions. He can be blamed for the tactics. He can be blamed for substitutions. He can be blamed for the halftime talks. What he can't be blamed for is Vicario's decision making. That's what he can't be blamed for. And as Rain rightly said, the smartest thing to do, as I said to you earlier, mate, was to kick it out. They might be under instructions from Frank to play out from the back, and under normal circumstances, by all means, do that. But in that kind of situation, I'm afraid to say that these aren't robots. They do have brains of their own, although some of them, like Bissouma, I'm debating that in my head. But most of them are meant to have brains of their own. And it's down to Vicario's decision making. That ball was never on. He never should have played it. He decided to. That ain't Frank's fault. But that doesn't make Frank blameless. But for the first goal, that wasn't Frank's fault. I'd say probably for the second goal, that also wasn't Frank's fault. You can say all three of them weren't Frank's fault, but the overall management of the game was Frank's fault. Yeah. He is culpable, but it's just like he's not culpable for all of it.
Look, I'm getting fed up with Tom. Look, I like Thomas Frank. I wanted him in before we got Ange. I've always said that, and I want him still to prove me wrong. If he can prove me wrong, I will hold my hands up and say, I'm wrong. I was wrong, and I'm sorry. I want him to. I'm not going here like other people. I'm Frank him because of our previous manager. I wasn't him. You and Rain and Tequila come in really good points and really good talking points of this is our position and this is what I think. For me, with Thomas Frank, I think we need a manager who's a bit like Poch. I think we've gone from one extreme to the other. I think we've gone from an all-out attacking manager to a more defensive manager. I feel we haven't got the players to play defensive football the way Frank likes to play it. I think he has lost the dressing room. I think some of the players are ignoring them now. I think you look at Jed Spence yesterday, literally arguing with him, why are you effing taking me effing off? Dissing the manager. That wouldn't have been done years ago. That even under Ange or any other manager, that would not have happened. I think he's lost respect of the senior players. I think he's lost respect of many of the fan base. I think we're all fed up with this football. We can't, I know, and I hear the arguments, we can't sack a manager. I get that. I understand that because what are you achieving? Probably nothing. But if you bring in a manager like a Xavi and like somebody like that who's a bit more attack-minded, but also defensive-minded, but a bit more attack-minded, I think you would see this squad go up the table. There's some players I would get rid of. I think Tequila and Rain, I would get rid of Porro tomorrow. I would get rid of him in January. I would also get rid of Bissouma. I would get rid of Bentancur. I would get rid of Vicario. I would get rid of who's the other player I would get rid of? Brennan Johnson. I would get rid of Odebear. I would get rid of two. So I would get rid of about 9 players. I would get rid of over the January and next summer.
Would you be happy with Archie Gray and Richard? What about Richarlison?
Well,
Get rid of
Richarlison.
Yeah,
I would do. He's one of the 9.
And would you be happy with Archie Gray being a starter in our first 11?
I would. I think me and Tequila sort of disagree in this. I think, where I will agree with Tequila, he was paid too much. I know Tequila. I know he's overpriced. Would you be happy then, guys? Then, if you look at our midfield, would you be happy with a Bergville and a Papa Sarr and a Xavi as a midfield three?
I'm just going to make the point, Dermot, that you've just said that you want to get rid of what?
9 players.
You want to get rid of 1, 2, 3, 4 players who started yesterday and who are arguably first teamers. They are absolutely first choice players at Tottenham Hotspur. Whether it's Frank and it doesn't matter what manager it is, they're going to be first choice players.
Yeah.
At Tottenham Hotspur. That's just where I am. Where I am is I'm not Frank in, Frank out. I'm Frank don't care. Frank doesn't matter.
I think everyone like that.
You can get Xavi in, and Vicario will still be a bozo. Porro will still not control the ball constantly. Bentancur will still do blind, no look passes and not pass to his man. Richarlison will still miscontrol pass from Xavi. I haven't been able to say this on stream yet, but the look, the thing that everybody's talking about Frank Mies and Deschamps. I don't care about that. I think it's like terrorists. If the manager loses the players, the problem is the players. That's the way that I look at it, 100%. Right?
Yeah,
because if the players will start disrespecting manager A, then they'll disrespect manager B. That's just the way that it works, right? It's so you need to get it's the players you need to get rid of, not the manager.
I do agree with that. I do agree.
What I was most concerned about yesterday was Xavi did a through ball to Richarlison, and Richarlison miscontrolled the ball really badly, right? And Richarlison would have been away, and free, and Xavi just looked down and just shook his head, and Kudus, and it was just like you could just see what was going through this guy's head. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I cannot do anything with this person, right? Kudus gets the ball on the byline, does a neat little flick into Porro, who's got nobody round him. Porro takes 2 touches, by which time he's closed down by I think it was Anderson or Sangare. I think it might have been Sangare actually. He's closed down by Sangare. Porro's turned, so Porro's got himself into trouble. He kicks it at Sangare, and it goes out for a throw. In, and Kudus did like this, right? Because Kudus, what Kudus wanted was to give him a flick, make a run down the line, and for Porro just to hit it one time, first time down. It's clearly what Kudus wanted, but Porro took 2 touches and completely messed it up. And then the last one. So again, Kudus look, what are we doing here? What am I doing with this bozo? And then the last one was Paulinho, did a beautiful crossfield pass, right, about 30-40 yards, out to Porro. Porro was completely unmarked, bypassed three Forest players, and cleared their midfield. And Porro took a touch and it went out for a throw-in. And Paulinho just kind of like did this, shook his head, and then walked away. I'm more concerned that our better players are getting frustrated that when they're trying to do stuff with the bozos that we know that we've got in our team, that they're going to start giving up. I think Moani's given up as well. I think Moani's like, why am I at this club?
Yeah, I want to ask you, Tequila, right? And it's something the players look. I understand players are getting frustrated, but surely they're getting frustrated with Frank as well, with his tactics and the way that he's setting up. Do you feel bringing in Thomas Frank was the bad idea to kill it to begin with? Do you think we needed to bring in a more attacking manager that had a bit of a defensive side to him? But do you think going down the Thomas Frank route has now
No,
turned into a bad?
I think that's hindsight being 2020.
Yeah, I think so.
I think the idea was, and at the start of this demo, I'm going to quote you on this. We more or less both agreed that what Spurs needed after the roller coaster of Ange Postecoglou, you know my feelings on him.
Manager.
We both said that maybe
Yeah.
some stability and some pragmatism was exactly what we needed. I think we both kind of said maybe not in the long term, but in the short term, at least for a season or so, to stabilize the club, regroup, decide what you want to do, all these things. And now 3 or 4 months later, it's not really working out. I don't think it's been an absolute train wreck, but it seems to be heading in one direction.
Yeah.
So I'll be throwing out this idea of trying to stabilize the club for a couple of years or a season or two. And if so, I don't understand what people's expectations were for this season, if that's the case. Also, demo very quickly, and then I'll shut up. I've seen in the chat some people asking for Xavi to come in. I've got to kind of say this. The people who want Xavi in must not watch us on a weekly basis. Because he's the flavour of the month, right? Everyone, Xavi. Do you know the kind of football that Xavi wants to play? Short, intricate, passing game. I asked Demo this earlier on. How many of our players can pull this off? We said Simmons, maybe Maddison. Bentancur's not the worst passer in the world. Maybe. That's 2 or 3 max. And thank God that some people still got a head in their shoulders, like Knight here, who's more or less said exactly. Now, mate, you're good, Knights. Me and you always seem to agree. Getting Xavi in would be an absolute disaster with this team, as it is right now. Unless we're going to buy 10 players in January and ship 10 out, unless we're going to be buying a player every 2 or 3 days in the January transfer window to completely turn this team into a completely different type of team, what's the point in bringing Xavi halfway through the season and expecting any kind of difference? In fact, it could get even worse. If he's trying to get this team to pass, they can't pass. So it could get even worse.
So on that logic, on that way of thinking that, okay, maybe I wouldn't say I'm delusional by saying Xavi coming in, but maybe I just picked him as an example. I think somebody like the Bournemouth manager coming in, Glasner would do a good job.
Mate, this wasn't an attack on you, mate. It's common.
I know that.
You go around the chat rooms, you look at the stream. There's a lot of people saying bring Xavi in.
Yeah.
It's not old Dermo. It's just in general. That's because that's the name that keeps on coming up, and it's just like
it does.
No, not with this team. In the summer, when we can maybe bring in some proper players who can pass the ball, okay, but not now. Crazy.
Yeah. I
when
think
we got rid of Ange, I wanted Xavi. I wanted us to go and get Xavi. And then when we got Frank, I was on the WhatsApp chats that I'm on, and I was like, I'm really not sure about this. I'm really not sure. But but I don't think. I'll be brutally honest. I don't think we're getting Xavi. I don't think Xavi is looking at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. I've been trying to say this on various streams. People think that we can go and get Xavi, and they're not remembering 72 days to get 9th place Nuno. They're not remembering, a month or two to get 5th choice Ange. Ange was not first choice. Yeah, we got turned down by Slot.
Nagelsmann. Didn't we want Nagelsmann as well, didn't we?
Nagelsmann. We even had a deal in place with was it an Italian an Italian manager who ended up in Moscow or something? I can't remember his name because he's anonymous. It's like he's gone nowhere. The idea that Xavi is going to come to Tottenham Hotspur, I think, is for the birds.
Yeah. Look, I just look. I just put names out there. I get given names, and we put them. We give them what we get given. We give it to the people on the shows. We get given names from our sources, and we go along. You know, we say, well, this is the information we have. Like, you know, and I agree with Tequila and you, Rain. I agree with what Tequila is saying. I agree what he's saying about the players. I think the bigger problem here is the club. And I know, Tequila, you've been a massive advocate of burning it all down, starting again, going right down to the foundations. Look, you know me, I love my history. You know, I love my history, Tequila. I love Tottenham of the 80s, of Graham Roberts and Paul Miller and Stevie P and Ray Clements and Glenn Hoddle and Garth Crooks and Steve Archibald, Tony Galvin. You know, then you had people like Mickey Hazard coming in, and then you had people Chris Waddle and Gaza and, you know, Gary Lineker, and then you go to the 90s with Sheringham and Vinnie Samways and all them players. They're all Tottenham players, not the greatest players in the world. One thing all them squads had in common was they all played for each other. They all played for one another, and they all were proud to wear the shirt. These group of players, for the last, I would say, since Ange left, I would say with Ange, they were proud to wear the shirt. But I think since Ange left, I think they're sulking. I think these group of players are now starting to throw the toys out the pram. I think some of them, Tequila and Rain, I think some of them need to really go and get their head checked, because I think they're fucking off their rockers. The likes of Porro, he needs to go and come out and apologise for what he said. I think the whole club is rotten. So I'm going to give you one question each, and then I'll answer the question myself last. So I'm going to start Tequila and go to Rain. Tequila, if you were coming in to buy Tottenham Hotspur, and Jack can get involved in this as well, what is the number one thing on your to-do list the first day you hit the chairman's office? What is your number one job to do to rebuild this football club to its former glories?
Depending on when I came in, if it would be possible to do, and this would obviously depend what month this was, I would shut the club down for a month, hire an independent sports professional, completely non-biased, so not involved in football. I've said this kind of before demo, and I'd have an absolute purge and an absolute deep investigation over every facet of the club, especially on the sporting side of it, going over every single aspect, waiting for an independent report, so no biases. I wouldn't even want it to be from a football person, because they'll have biases. I want it from another sport. Okay, top of the range, no expense is saved. So the absolute, if it costs a fortune to do, I'd spend it on the best that there was available, and then I'd get that report, and I'd most likely listen to majority of it. And if it said purge it all, I'd purge it all of it.
Fair enough. That
start from the ground up. All players, if they turn around and said all players to be sold, all players will be sold.
For me, I think that needs doing. Rain?
I will just say, Dermot, I think you're misremembering last year. I think last year there was plenty of fan versus player revolts.
Yeah, there was.
We all remember the Ange ear cup was not an isolated incident that just happened. That happened over months of fracture between the players and the fans. So this is not new. This is not something that's just started to happen this season. This is something that's persistent with these players and against the fans. It absolutely is. It's not new. So I will just say that if I owned I'll say what initially came into my head, but I think what I'd now do is hire Tequila to do what he said he's going to do, because I think it's better. I would get some very, very clear departments within the football operations, and start getting those. I don't know whether they do this. Get those. So Frank, head of coaching, whoever head of scouting and transfers. I'd get a finance. I get finance in that. I'd get a head of finance in there as well. I'd get the head of the youth set up, and we would have and I would have weekly meetings with all of them for about an hour to start working out how we were going to progress forwards. Probably get the public relations, head of public relations in there as well, because I don't think the club does enough on public relations to move forwards. There needs to be that person needs to be developing a closer link to the fans. There needs to be more things like working to get the stadium to be a more welcoming place. It's a wonderful stadium, but the fact that we don't have a singing section is absolutely horrendous. There's only one singing section in at White Hart Lane, and that's the away end. And I try to get those that group of people all working together in a straight line. That was my initial thoughts. But with now that Tequila's had his say, I'd actually hired Tequila and
I need the money, bro. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Better than mine.
Look, for me, I do agree with you. I will get to the comments in a minute, guys. Some good points in here. Tequila, I just want to give this one. Gerard says give Vic a new 10-year deal. That's the first thing he would do when he's going into the club. And also, Carl says he'll give Rick Charleston a new 7-year contract. So, would you be sacking them, Tequila, Gerard and Carl? Would you be sacking them straight away?
Notice that Carl says a 7-year contract. Doesn't matter in what wage. So 7-year contract on £1 a week. I'd sign that. I'd get him to sign that immediately.
Or what job? Tea ladies.
Janitor. Told you, Eric Dyer's old job. That still needs to be filled. Janitor. So yeah.
Right.
Toilet cleaner.
Look, I'm a great historian of the club. I love the history of the club, and I look back through the years under the Bill Nick years, under the what was his name, the manager we had in the 80s. I've forgotten what he's called. Sorry, this is ridiculous for me.
You're talking about Birkinshaw.
Birkinshaw, that was it. I couldn't think of his name. Sorry, that's ridiculous of me. Birkinshaw, Arthur Road, Cameron back in 1901. We've had this history of Tottenham playing the Tottenham way. And we've got lost over the years, I think, under Enoch and Levy. What's really making my blood boil, and Tequila knows this, is all of this protests and more protests. We want our club back. Levy out, Enoch out. And Levy goes, and then everyone says, that's grand. No more protests. We be grand. It's a new board. I understand people don't want to give them time. I get that. And I think that's all right. And I think they probably are right to do that. But for me, I don't trust them. I don't trust them with my club. I don't trust them with giving the money to the managers to spend. I don't trust them picking the manager. I think we need somebody to come in, and they're not going to be found anymore, Tequila. You know what I mean? Like a Jack Walker style type owner that's going to come in and put the fans first. Put the club back to where it was always, within the community. Tottenham and the fans were always joined at one. You go back to 1984 when we won that European trophy. When Danny, what's his name? Danny, God, my memory's bad tonight. Who missed the penalty reign in the 84 UEFA Cup final?
I can't remember.
Danny Thomas. Okay. When Danny Thomas missed that ball, the whole stadium and players were as one. They all stand up. There's only one Danny Thomas. Could you imagine the fans doing that now? No, they wouldn't do it now, because there's such a fracture between the players and the fans. And it's been going on just not under Ange. It's been going on longer than that. The club has deteriorated to a point where it's not even a club that I recognize anymore. And if you look at performances like we had at Forest yesterday, as I named this stream, embarrassing, no fight, no passion, clueless. And that's what it was yesterday. We, the fans, are representing Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. The players on the pitch are representing themselves. Well, then they shouldn't wear the shirt of Tottenham. They should go out with Armani t-shirts on or something like that, because they're not representing us, the fans. You've got players in fighting themselves. The squad seems to be imploding. The manager doesn't have a clue. The owners don't even know what they're doing. And I think Tequila's purge is right. It needs a purge. It needs burning down. It needs going back to the DNA of this football club. This DNA of this football club was to dare us to do. Bill Nick built that DNA. We need to go back to the Bill Nick DNA. And the day with this club died was the day Enoch and Levy took over this football club. This is the day this club died. Somebody said it to me today, and I don't know, guys, if you know. Tequila, I'm getting the video to send to you, bud. But do you remember when Levy did his first ever interview when he took over as chairman for Tottenham? I think you remember, don't you, Tequila?
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
I don't remember his first video interview. I just remember the statements, because it all happened very close to the whole Sol Campbell situation.
Yeah.
And I remember, it will always stick in my mind. I remember what they said about Sol Campbell. Sorry to see you go, Sol. We'll see you in the Champions League. I'll never forget it. For some reason, that's etched into my mind. But I don't remember his first televised interview. I don't.
Somebody pointed out to me today that Vin Eyes, when he did his first press conference, when he took over as being chairman or chairman-elect, or whatever he is, of the footballing side, said exactly the same thing Danny Levy said 25 years ago, near enough word for word. Both, if you look at both videos, they both spouted the same thing near enough. With the words they were using, we want to be competitive. We want to win things. We want to do this. And I just think there's no nod to our history. There's no nod to former players. Yes, we've done a little bit. We paid Jimmy Greaves medical bills. I know we back in the 80s, Tottenham were always helping former players. And we just seem to have lost who we are and what we are. We don't seem to be Tottenham Hotspur Football Club anymore. And I think Birkinshaw, when he left, and I know it was a journalist that said it, he didn't actually technically say this. I think it was written as a headline to actually make the piece look better, when he said there used to be a football club over there. I think every time Rain leaves that stadium, or Tottenham fans leave that stadium, even when I leave that stadium, we think Tottenham Hotspur used to play there. We're not watching Tottenham Hotspur anymore. I'm on the verge of I love my channel. This is the only thing is keeping me going, is this channel. Because I would tell you, as I said earlier, I've said it twice today, I would not be watching Tottenham at the moment if it wasn't for this channel and the subscribers we have and the people on this channel. I would just turn off Tottenham and not bother. I am so disillusioned with this football club. I'm so disillusioned with these players. I'm so disillusioned with this manager. This club has died. It's on life support, dying, and we need somebody to come in and give it a new breath of fresh air. Who that's going to be, I don't know. But I can't see it. I think this is not going to be a quick fix. This is going to be a slow fix, and we're going to have more seasons like this till we get out the players that need to get out, till we get a manager in who understands our DNA and our history and what we're about, and that every fan can get behind. There's only one man for that job, and I think that's Pochettino.
Pochettino isn't doing all of that you're talking about there, Daniel.
Well, the last time I know, and Tequila was a big fan of this as well. I mean, you back me up in this, Tequila. You've actually I've got a different view of Pochettino, but for what you said, Tequila, and you've said it to me once or twice, the last time I remember the fans as united as we were was under Pochettino. We haven't been united since then.
Yeah, but you're talking about a Sir Alex Ferguson style rewrite, rebaselining of the club.
Yeah,
and
it's not what
Pochettino isn't doing that. Pochettino is not Alex Ferguson.
I'm not saying, but I think at the moment, to start it up, I think Pochettino's the only one to unite the fan base. I mean, Tequila, what do you think, Bud?
I think. Okay, I phrased this a couple of years ago. I doubt anyone's going to remember. The reason why I thought Pochettino has been our best ever manager in the modern era. I know Dermo said it when you think, but in my opinion, is because he was the most ENIC resistant manager we had. He was able to form a relationship with Daniel Levy, integrate himself into the way the Spurs club under Daniel Levy wanted to be ran. We've heard all the stories about how they went on holiday together and he was best mates with Levy and he's best mates with Harry Kane, took Dele Alli under his wing, was like a father figure. He navigated the ENIC waters better than any other manager had been able to do. And that by itself, I think, was a skill set, because every other manager that I can think of could not deal with Daniel Levy on a long-term basis. The only other one that even comes remotely to mind was Harry Redknapp. And even then we knew Harry Redknapp had issues, especially when all that tax stuff came out. He had issues then with Levy. So Pochettino, for me, his biggest attribute wasn't anything he did on the pitch. It was his ability to work within ENIC's and Daniel Levy's rigid system and policy of buying players and the policy that ENIC wanted to run. And ever since we let Pochettino go, we've been trying to come up, or Levy was trying to find another person who could fit within that system. He stupidly thought Mourinho could fit within that system. We all know that Mourinho was not going to take second fiddle to be Daniel Levy's puppet. No chance. Conte, no chance. Right? These are the managers that we've gone for. Ange. Was Ange a bit more of a yes man? Yeah. I believe that Ange didn't have the character that Mourinho or Conte had. And then Frank was, we think, his latest attempt at that. Could Frank have worked within Levy's ENIC? I don't know. We never really got a chance to find out because Danny Boy was out on his ass before the season started. So we'll never really know that. But to bring my point still is that bring Pochettino back now, Levy's not there. So if I think that his best attribute was working within Daniel Levy's system, Levy's not there anymore. And we don't know what the new system is. Again, because we don't know what the owner's plans are. So until we know how the owners are going to run it, well, this is what I mean. This is why at the minute, there's no point bringing a new manager in until we know how they're going to run it.
I mean, Rain, look, I get what you're saying, Tequila. You're right. Look, the owners need to come out and do some press and do some statements or something. Give us something to hang our hat on. Look, I know Pochettino probably second time round probably never works, and I think it's always a bit dodgy to go back if you had great success before. That's possibly true. I want something to bring my club back. This is not my football club. This is not Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. This is not a team that I recognise or a club I recognise anymore. And it's breaking my heart. Yeah. It's genuinely breaking my heart because apart from my family, my second love is my football club. And it's like watching my club go through a deterioration. Sorry, I know I've got that wrong. Of it going through getting old and it's losing its marbles. This football club is so in disarray. But every week we turn up. You go to the games, Rain, every home game. Me and Tequila do our build up to the game. I do the watch long. Tequila comes in and helps me with match after the whistle, and we all do our player ratings and we all do this. Do you know, I had this under Conte and then under Ange Postecoglou. Yes, it was a roller coaster, but he gave me the best night of my life in 17 years, winning that European trophy. I know there was a lot of shit beforehand, but I think for me, I sort of put that to one side because we won that trophy. And And then he gets season 3 is always better than season 2. Well, we're never going to know what season 3 would have turned out because it was. I still wonder if that was a dig at Levy because he knew he was getting the sack. But my club's dying. Our club's dying. It's on pure life support. I wish I could be logical like you two. I can't. I can't be logical like you two. I'm me. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm passionate about my club. I'm passionate about this channel. I'm always everything I do. I'm passionate about it. I'll give it my all. And it's getting to a point where it's breaking my heart. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, you don't want to be dead inside like me. You carry on being you, Dermot. Absolutely, 100%.
Thing is, Dermo, about that,
Hmm.
I'm going to disagree a little bit. The body of Tottenham Hotspur is alive and well and kicking and very vibrant.
Yeah,
The soul of Tottenham Hotspur is what's
that's
dying.
it. Sorry, that's the point.
The body is very healthy. Go check
Yeah.
the finances. Go check the new stadium. Go
It's
check
the
the state of the
soul.
art training facility. The body's in
It's the
prime
soul.
condition. It's just got no soul.
Yeah,
husk.
thank you.
A husk. It's like a zombie. It's a
it's
zombie football club.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like we're missing Bill Nick's spirit. I've always said it. You walk into White Hart Lane, you felt Bill Nick's spirit in that stadium. You felt the spirit of the 60s side. You felt the spirit of the 80s side. You felt you were looking at that pitch and you can picture the players of the 60s playing on that pitch, couldn't you? You could picture the players of the 80s playing in the stadium. You can't do that at the new stadium. I didn't ask for that new stadium.
Yeah. So Dermot, you've just mentioned the right word about 5 times in about 10 seconds, right? And we can talk about Pochettino. We can talk about Pochettino, but we wouldn't have had the relationship with Pochettino if we weren't winning, and we weren't. I'm not even sure the exciting football is the point. If we weren't winning, we wouldn't have had a relationship with Pochettino. And there's a good reason why we were winning. That's because we had better players. Right?
Yeah.
If you look at the team, if you look at the 16-17 or the 15-17 team and first team, we just had an absolutely cracking set of players who yes played exciting football, but part of that exciting football was the fact that they could pass to each other and they could tackle and they could dribble. The problem that we've got now is that we don't have players that are good enough. So when we look back to the 80s, one of my favourite ever Spurs players was Richard Gough, right? Played for us for a season, and he was incredible. He was so good. He was a defender, which just goes to show, how dead inside I am, right? That I didn't mention in that year, Clive Allen, who was another one of my favourite players.
Yeah.
I remember the players. And the players right now, unfortunately, when you've got half a team who can't do the basics, then what you end up with is a whole team that doesn't work. So you can have your Xavi, you can have your Van de Ven, you can have your Kudus, you can have your Romero if you want to add them in, you can have your Palhinha. But if they're passing the ball, going back to what I said earlier, if they're passing the ball to a teammate and the teammate miscontrols it or doesn't read the room and make a sensible footballing decision like kicking it out rather than giving it to you when you've got 3 players around you, or playing it down the line. If they don't play it down the line, instead they mess about and lose the ball when you're making an effort. It doesn't matter whether you've got 3 or 4 good players, because the whole team doesn't work. The whole machine needs to work, and the only way the machine will work is if we get better players.
Yeah, and it's down then, Tequila, isn't it? Down to Paratici, down to Lang, down to the Lewis family to put the money available to buy these better players. But it's also down to, guys, Tequila, also about getting rid of the players that we need to get rid of. So if you're looking at Tottenham now going into this January window, Tequila, how much of a bullet point do you think that is on Paratici's board at the Power board at the moment? What do you think his top 3 things are to do in January and also for next summer? Say he had 100 million to spend in January, right? Just say, for example, right, we had 150 million to spend in January. Do you want Tottenham to go fast and early in the transfer market, or do you want them to go a bit, instead of going as a sprint, but treat it as a marathon? How do you want Tottenham to be in this January window?
If I had 150 million to spend in January, I'd save it for the proper manager, not for Thomas Frank.
So then what do you do if Thomas Frank comes up to you and say, right, I need new players? What do you say to him? You can't say to him, sorry, I ain't giving you no money, because...
Why not?
Because, well, then that means then would you sack him then and bring in a manager you are going to back?
Yeah, but not in January. My point is that rather than spunking 150 million on Thomas Frank, who is looking like probably long term has no future with us, unless there's a miraculous turnaround. I don't see that happening. I'm not saying I'm not saying. I'm certainly not for getting rid of him right now. I don't see the point in doing anything till the summer. But if that's the case, I write the season off, which I think most of us have already kind of done anyway now. And I save 150 million. I decide who my next manager is already. Like, I'm already thinking about that now, who we want in, drawing up a very, very small shortlist. And then I promise the manager we bring in a massive kitty based upon the 150 million I was going to spend in January. I'll save that and add that to the 150 or so million we normally spend anyway, most summers. That would give us a kitty of 300 million, and say to the new manager, okay, sell who you want. That will raise you more funds. Here's 300 million. Build the team you want. We do actually believe in you. You are our choice, not the outgoing chairman's choice. You are our choice. This is a plan. And try, if possible, barring the disaster, we're going to give you 2 or 3 seasons, no matter what the fans say. That's an ideal situation. I don't actually believe that's going to happen in the slightest, but you asked me what I would do. So
no, I agree. I think that's logical. That's a logical way to do it. Big up to 90 says any nerds like me will get this. Spurs is the football equivalent of Star Wars now on the Disney. Good numbers, no. So yeah, I get that.
They don't even get good numbers anymore. The last show, The Acolyte, tanked terribly.
Can we just say Andor was absolutely outstanding though.
Not seen it, but I've heard good things of it.
It was outstanding.
I did also enjoy the one, what was it? Name of him. Obi-Wan. I loved that. I thought that was brilliant, Obi-Wan. And also the Mandarin. I love the Mandarin. Especially that last one when you had an AI version of Luke Skywalker coming in. My jaw nearly hit the ground.
Yeah, that was the best part of the whole series.
Yeah.
But the Mandalorian died with that episode because Gina Carano, I think that was her last episode.
It was, yeah.
And they got rid of her on Trumped Up, on Trumped Up.
Yeah.
Woke. She wasn't even being woke. She
came out and said something, and the showrunners didn't like it, and they just fired her. Yeah.
Well, I think other people didn't like it, and they were like, "Oh, okay," and they panicked, and they decided to get rid of her. And she recently won that court case.
Good.
By the way, where were we? Where were we? I had a point, and I can't remember what it was.
It was about Transformers. Sorry.
No. So your Transformers. So
he wishes it was about Transformers, Frank.
I hate to be boring. I hate to be boring because people want to talk about who we're going to get in, but there has to be an acceptance that we cannot get players in without getting players out. You cannot just buy more players. The bucket is full of water, and you can't pour more water in the bucket. The water's just going to spill over the side. Sorry, the water is players, and the bucket is our squad. So it's not happening in January. It just isn't. There's no way that we're getting more players in January unless they make some really harsh decisions. And the easiest harsh decisions that they make is Archie Gray going out on loan, right? Getting him effectively out the first team squad. And you can do that for 2 or 3 years. Yeah, because again, if you sign players, you have to accept it's not just for a year, it's for 4, 5, 6 years. Basuma has to just be ejected. But mind you, he's not in the squad anyway. So Basuma has to be ejected. And we have to. Somebody has to get rid of Richarlison. Somebody has to work out a way to sell Richarlison or get him out of our club, so that we can get a better striker in. We have to.
I want to ask you two a question, guys. Right, I do agree with everything you say, Rain. I think you're right. Just one word number answer, because we've got 2 more topics to talk about, and I want to get through them if we can. Tequila, how many do you think we're going to buy in January? How many out? How many in?
How many do I want, or how many do I think?
No, how many do you think out and in?
2 players, probably on loan. Out. I can see 3 at the most. Hopefully, Gray on loan. I'm not sure, but the other 2 I think permanent.
Yeah, and also Brendan Johnson. You're going to get a player as well, Rain, so don't worry. Brendan Johnson, Palace, January.
Only if there's a replacement.
That's a fair point. So 3 out. You said 3 out and 2 in, yeah?
Yeah, max.
Fair enough. Rain, firstly, how many do you think out and in?
How many do I think will happen? I think it'll be 2 out, 2 in.
Right. And
sorry, no. I think it'll be 3 out, 2 in, because I'm going to count Basuma as leaving.
So you're the same as Tequila then. Was Basuma one of yours as well as that separate Tequila?
No, he's one of them.
Okay.
So I need to be clear. Any money I'm being offered for any player, I'm taking it. So if Inter Milan come in for Vicario, I'm taking that money. I'm taking the money. I don't care how much it is. I will try to push them up, but if I get an inkling they're walking away from the table, I'm going, right, okay, let's sign the contract now. Right? If they offer me 12 million, and so we take an £8 million loss, I'm taking it. And I'm going out and spending 50, 60 million on a better goalkeeper, whoever they're finding. Because the fundamentals are that we have to get players out. So if Palace want Johnson, and they're offering real money, they're actually offering cash or some kind of commitment, I am taking it 100%, because I don't think I'm getting that offer again. And he's on a long contract, and I need him out of the club. If the Saudis actually come in for Richarlison, and he goes, "Oh, I don't want to go," I'm like, "Dude, we're going to delist you. You need to go. We don't want you at this club anymore. I don't care. You are out of this club. I don't care." Right? And that's not Frank saying that to him. That's somebody else saying that to him so that he can maintain a relationship with the players. So that's what I'm doing. If anybody offers any money for our players, I'm freaking taking it.
Are you in the same boat, Tequila?
It would be player specific. Like for me, Richarlison would be that player that Rain's talking about.
Yeah.
If anyone came in for Richarlison, I'd more or less at this point I'd take anything, because that player's value is just going to go down and down. With Johnson, I think Johnson's reputation isn't quite as damaged as Richarlison. He's English. He's still on the youngish side. So I'd be quietly confident that I might get another offer in the summer for him. So it would be player dependent a little bit. Richarlison, I think we've been trying to get rid of him for a while, and there's just been no takers. I think Richarlison's reputation is at an all-time low, so that's why I think we can't shift him. Johnson, because he still does generally score goals, at least he did last year. I think his reputation is not as badly damaged yet as someone like Richarlison. So I'd be a bit more patient, but I understand 100% what Rain's talking about. And it would depend. Like if somebody says, "Okay, Palace offer you 40 million," I'm not gonna beat around the bush on that one. But if Palace come in for someone like 20 million, I might be thinking to myself, I might be able to do a bit better than that. So I might hold off for some of them. But it would be player dependent, mate. But they can all go as far as desiring them to go. Then yeah. But I try and get a bit more for a couple of them if I think I can. But some of them, you're right. Richard, if you got an offer for Bissouma, Dermo, everyone here would bite their hand off. If they came in and said, "She will give you 100,000 for him," take it, mate.
Take it.
Yeah.
For me, I would go with probably. I'm going to go with 4 out and 2 in. For me, I think we will get 2 in. Carl's gone for 6 out and 4 in. He's optimistic.
I apologise, Dermo. I thought Johnson was English. Fair play, Carl. I fucked up.
Yeah, what you meant is he's homegrown, which is
British tax. Yeah, you're right. For some reason, I thought he was English. Yeah, of course he's Welsh. Of course he is.
Just very quickly, damage limitations here. We do apologise. Yes,
sorry,
Tequila is Welsh himself. He is a very proud Welshman.
Yeah.
No, he sings the Valley of the Hills every morning when it gets up, and he really does. He doesn't speak within it. Behind the scenes, he's got a broad Welsh accent. He really does. So, he's one of your own.
I don't know why I thought he was English.
Why did you think he was English?
I know he's Welsh. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of.
I think you meant he's homegrown.
I did, but I also think for some reason I think you know what it is. It's because Carl was talking about the Palace, right, and getting that Mateta for. I thought of Andrew Johnson. He used to play for Palace. I think it all got confused in my mind a little bit. Yeah.
And so, please, any Welsh fans, Tequila is Welsh. He loves the Welsh.
I love
any Welsh women, any single Welsh women, Tequila's a rich free man.
Any women in general, don't fussy about it.
No, they're just you go with the Welsh Tequila. Build up the companions again with them. Anyway, let's move swiftly on as we try to sort out Tequila's love life. Sorry. I found a nice Irish girl for you over here, Tequila. I've got one for you, bud.
Cool.
Where was I going? Oh yeah, stats of yesterday's game. I did work last night actually on this, believe it or not. I do work behind the scenes. I don't just sit on my ass. Cullen will be happy 4-3 to Man United currently. They were 3-2 down. Jeez, that sounds like
that was a good game.
We should have done that as a watch along, Tequila.
Yeah. Might as well.
Now, stats of the game: 48 possession to the invisible team that I didn't put the logo on. Damn you, Dermot. 48 possession to Forest, 52 possession to Tottenham. Total shots: 15 for Forest, 6 for Tottenham. 6 on target for Forest, 1 on shot on Tottenham. 1.91 XG. Tequila, we're going you. You're the XG king. 0.37. Is that our third worst or fourth worst this season?
I know there's been so many, hasn't there?
Yeah.
It's up there. It's like, it's not as bad as the 0.01s and 0.016s we were getting, but here you go. We nearly got to here you go. This will cheer you up. It's closer to 0.5 than 0.0. There you go. That'll cheer you up.
Cheers. See, Tequila's here. That's a big up to you. XG conceded 0.37 to which is shit.
That's just the reverse of the other one.
Yeah,
weird stat.
It is a weird stat. It really is. Then we're passing. Forest were better at passing than us. We had more percentage for tacklings actually in the game, which is Aluna Romero. Aerial duels we lost 3 saves out of 1. It shows their keeper was, I think, making his debut yesterday. and he didn't have one shot to save, only one. It's just fucking ridiculous, like. And 3 corners each. What else did I put on? Oh yeah, this was a little bit about Thomas Franks. So I'm going to give you each Thomas. It's only 3, so I'm going to go to keep the first one.
Sorry,
You
so,
the
sorry,
second one, right?
sorry, Dermot, just quickly. There was one
Yeah.
other stat that I heard today, which is
Okay.
we couldn't work out whether it was a Premier League record, but we gave the ball away 25 times.
Mentioned this to Demo
Yeah.
earlier. Yeah, 25 times. Yeah.
So
And also, this is the worst start to a Premier League season for since
2008.
2008.
Yeah.
It's
Since Ramos.
Yeah, since Ramos. I know what happened to him. Right, Tequila, you get the first one. You're Thomas Frank. You're sitting in the hot seat. And I'm asking you, as Ali Gold, with Archie Gray mistake, is that something you hope you will learn from as a young player? They said before, mistakes happen, stuff like that. Of course, I'll be irritated about it. Well, you're an absolute gobshite because it wasn't his fault. I can't believe he was blaming him yesterday. Press conference, watching him after the game, getting it, protecting Vicario like a fucking numpty. I think it was a classic thing you see week in, week out. The ball playing to one of the 2 sitters, bounced it out. First touch, not take a touch. We will learn from that. I'm pretty sure he will use 1 touch next time. Tequila, if I looked at Jamie Carragher, Vicario passed it to his left foot. He should have hoofed it. Is Thomas Frank right to throw Archie Gray under the bus like he did?
I think it's the question. He was asked the question, Dermot.
Yeah, but
it isn't Thomas Frank throwing Archie Gray under the bus. He can only answer the question he's asked.
Yeah, I know. But Tequila, do you think he was throwing them under the bus? I think he was.
I don't know. I think if you, we've probably all watched that goal a couple of times by now. There is more than one mistake. There is a mistake by Gray. He should have passed it first time. It is a tad harsh because his keepers put him in a bad situation, but not an impossible situation, but a bad situation. And you can make an argument that Gray should have maybe had a little bit more awareness and passed it first time. It's not an impossible thing for him to do. It's a difficult, but not impossible. Vicario set him up to fail, but he still did fail. Is that the right way I can kind of phrase it?
Yeah, I get I get that. But he did have rain, he did have VDV, and he did have Romero either side. And as I say, and you've said it, if in doubt, give it a whack light. So I think I know he was asked the question, but I think it's unfair. He did it in the interview with Sky, where he got very irritated with it when he said he started touching the wall as well. It was his fault. He would learn from it. And I'm thinking, well, you have him once. The Sky presenter said to him, well, Vicario did put him into a tough position. No, he didn't. Oh,
really?
It's all on Archie Gray.
Is that what you said?
Yeah. It's all on Archie Gray.
That's new information. I'm just looking at this, and
Yes.
I'm very clear that he was asked a question about Archie Gray, and he's answered a question about Archie Gray. But if you're saying that he was said, should Vicario have done it, and he went and he brushed that off, and then just spoke about Archie Gray, then I do have a problem with that, because I just don't agree with this. I look at Archie Gray and where he's played the ball, and there's 2 Forest players. There's a Forest player behind him, and there's 2 Forest players either side of him. I don't think he's got anywhere to go. I don't think he's got a pass to Romero or Van der Ven at that point. By the time it's come to him, I think if you again, I've got that still in my head. I think the pass to Van der Ven has been cut out by a Forest player who ended up scoring, right? Hudson-Odoi, who ended up scoring. And on the left-hand side, there's a Forest player on his left-hand side as well. I think he's absolutely stuffed. It was this worries me that Frank is accepting that this is the way to play football, because I think playing it out from the back is suicide football. I see these mistakes. Do you remember Forster
Yeah.
last season against Manchester United? Two goals is exactly the same thing. It's just begging any minor error, it ends up in a goal. So just listen to Dermot. listen to the Tron, and if in doubt, give it a whack. That's what I say. You need to listen to the Tron.
We were taught at school, won't we, Tequila? We were taught that at school. If in doubt, give it a whack. Hit it in Rose Ed. I mean, look, somebody said tonight, Tequila, right? If you hit it long, you're going to lose possession, but you'd rather lose possession up the field, wouldn't you, than down the field? To be fair.
Okay, I'm as you guys are talking, I'm literally rewatching it. Okay, so he does have a pass on. He does.
Gray or Vicario?
Great, and actually, Gray's got quite an easy pass on. I've got to be honest.
Who's
the right back, either the centre half who's shifted right or the right back. He does have a pass on, and it's actually quite an obvious pass as well. He doesn't have much time to make it, but there is one there. So I've got it on now. I've got it on my other screen.
But that's what Carragher was saying. Carragher was saying the problem is he couldn't do that because Vicario played it to his left foot. So he couldn't play it out that way. He needed to take a touch, and that's it. As soon as he takes a touch, it's done.
Yeah, but could you not say that obviously it's not an Archie Ray's favour's foot, but you can still make the pass? It might not be the best. It might not be the most accurate or powerful pass, but it's still. I mean, players have to use both feet, unless Archie Gray is significantly one-footed.
Look, I'm going to put my hands up. I got an agenda here because I absolutely hate playing out from the back, and there's a reason I hate playing out from the back because of what happened yesterday, and I just see it again and again and again and again, and I just don't get it. I don't get why. I am more frank out because of this statement than anything else that's been said, because this is bonkers. It's delulu. It's just so stupid that I just don't get. I just don't get how clever people can be this stupid. Playing it out from the back ends up in, I would love to see the stats in how many goals are conceded from losing the ball from playing it out from the back, because it must be off the chart.
I mean, yeah, sorry. I mean, Tequila, look, we'll move on from Gray in a minute. Just one last question on it. If you say he can make a pass, then is that to Romero or is that to Mickey van der Ven? Romero. Then surely should Romero then come forward to help Archie Gray? If he can see Archie Gray, if he
the thing is, it happens so fast.
Yeah, it did.
Romero's pulled out a little bit wider. Vicario's passed it to Gray, and it is really quick. So even though I'm saying that Gray did have a pass, it really was split second. It really was that fast. But he still could have. I'm going back to exactly what I said before. Vicario put him in the shit, 100%.
He did.
But it wasn't impossible. It was tough for Gray to get out of it, but not impossible.
Do you think that to put this to bed, this Archie Gray, do you think it was just inexperience that cost him?
Yeah, exactly.
Well? I don't think. Of course it was.
What you're going to get from a 19-year-old kid? They're going to make mistakes. That's the fundamental problem with playing 19-year-old kids.
And also, what Frank said here is kind of right, where he says that next time, probably Gray will just hit it, even if it is his weaker foot. He'll just one touch it with a weaker foot. Even if the pass he's making isn't going to be that fast or accurate, it will most likely get to Romero because there was no players in between him and Romero. It just wouldn't have been a particularly great pass, but it would have done the job. So Frank's right, and next time probably Gray will learn from that. But was it Gray's mistake? A little bit, but still doesn't disguise the fact that the Vicario put him right in it. which shouldn't have happened in the first place.
No.
But Gray is responsible for it. They're both responsible.
Yeah,
But the architect of it was Vicario. The start of it.
For me, the architect is Frank. That's and I'm pointing at the screen. For me, the architect is Frank. I tell you what, Dermot, you have done an amazing job at turning me here. This has turned me. You now have an ally in your Frank out.
Didn't know I had that in me, but there you go.
Well done, Dermot. You've converted Rain. Congratulations.
That was near enough impossible. Now, next we have to convert him to I don't know. If you convert him to something else in a minute. Very quickly. Yeah, very quickly, Tequila. We'll move on to the second part of the press conference. But if you look at with Porro's also come out and criticised Gray as well. Do you think all this stems back to the Fulham thing where players are now protecting Vicario and the manager because of what happened to Fulham? Do you think that played something into that with what's coming out with the press conference? Tequila, very quickly, then we'll move on to
regarding Vicario, it could be that maybe backstage in the locker room, there's been rumours that Vicario wants out, and it could be that they're at the point where Vicario is kind of saying, I think I want to go, and Frank might be desperately, for whatever reason. I mean, I think most of us we're at the point now where we're fine with him going, but Frank might be like, I don't really want you to go. So he's going to do everything he can, including maybe throwing Gray under the bus, which isn't great, to try and say to him, oh, Vicario, we want you to stay. I don't know that for sure. I'm just spitballing here. So maybe that's why he's going out of his way to defend him, because maybe Vicario is very much on the fence, like, oh, these fans don't like me. And that's probably one of the reasons why I think Vicario's form has dipped. I think it shows that I don't think he particularly want to be here anymore. I think it's starting to quite show.
I do. And we are waiting for a major update from a source. So once we get that, guys, we'll bring it to you. Right. Second question. I've cherry picked a couple of questions out of this. His substitutions yesterday were brutal, absolutely brutal. Does that come into when you're 2-0 down, you make 3 subs, one of them is Ben Davies and one of them is Palunia? I think a lot of the fans were hoping for attacking players. I'll start again with Tequila and I'll go down to you, Rain. I think you both get the same question, if that's okay. We had 4 offensive players on the pitch. I think that's fair to say. So I felt that just go to the back and go to the back to the bit before where I say we were disjointed. So if you're disjointed, you can make 11 offensive players on the pitch. It would not help. So we needed to be in sync. And then it helps. Hopefully we can find a way back after that. Tequila, I mean, what was your thought when he made his substitution? He admitted 2-0 down, the game was over. We lost the game. His mentality was, we ain't winning this. Where Tottenham in the past have come back from 2-0 down. Leicester, a few years ago, when we came from 2-0 down, beat Leicester 3-2. So how are you, what I'm saying here, Tequila, on this part of the question?
Do you want to go to Rain on this one first? Because I actually need to reread this because I'm trying to understand what he's getting at. So I need to go over this. It's all right. No, I'm just going to reread it myself. Yeah. Let Rain go first.
I wasn't great at reading it. Sorry, Tequila. I apologize. But go on, Rain.
I think I understand what Frank was trying to do. I understand what people are saying. They have a problem with it. But I understand what Frank was trying to do. So people are saying, we're 2-0 down. We need to score goals. So therefore you need more players up front. That's it, but that's not the way football works. It isn't. It just isn't. And I still go back to, you remember the Sanchez booing under Conte. I was there, and I'm still absolutely adamant that people were not booing Sanchez. They were booing the fact that Conte brought on a defensive player when we were 2-0 down and we needed a goal. Yesterday, I think what Frank could see was that we had no control over the ball. It really didn't matter about what we had up top because we couldn't get there, right? We just could not make our way progressively up the pitch to get into a attacking position. And the way that you it doesn't, so you can stick 4 forwards in the penalty area, but if you can't get the ball to them, it doesn't mean anything, right? And actually, the more players you take out of midfield and defence to go up top, the less players you've got to get the ball to them, right?
Mm.
It is logical. However, Davies is not the answer. Davies is not the answer to this problem, you know. And I think that if you do go back yesterday and look at our bench, it feeds back into my agenda, which is our squad is just horrific. You know, he had no options. You know, people are going, oh, we should have brought Odebear on. I mean, come on. So our answer to being in dire straits is to bring on a player who's played about half a season, well, maybe 18 months, and who we got from relegated Burnley. That's the player that we're hinging a comeback against Nottingham Forest when we were playing badly. I mean, make it make sense. You know, that it's just horrific. We need better players. We need more players of the quality of Xavi, Kudus, Van de Ven. And we need to stop buying Odebear, Tell, Richarlison. No disrespect to them. They're young, they're inexperienced, they're not ready. Gray, Bergval.
Yeah, I get it. Tequila, you've had a read of it, man. You've written down your notes. You have your answers ready. What are you saying to this? Because I'm sort of, you're losing, you go for it. Don't care if you lose 4-0, you go for it. You try to get back into the game, dumping on defenders.
You do, but I think what Rain's saying, if I'm getting it wrong, Rain, you let me know, that you still need, even if you do throw offensive players on, you still need to maintain a semblance of a control of the game. So unless you're going to unless it's the last 5 minutes of the game and you're going to stop pumping it long to a big target man or something, and you go completely direct, then you still need to have defenders, you still need to have midfielders, you need to have creativity in the midfield as well to get the balls to the forwards. You can't just go totally gung-ho. Like I say, there's exceptions to that. Last 5 minutes, if you want to just pump it long, hit and hope, then fine, do it. But we weren't at that point. So I think what he's trying to do is he's just trying to change it up rather than go super attacking, right? Because we haven't got that many great attacking players. Our best striker is probably still injured. Still probably our most creative outlet is Maddison. He's injured. So there's not that much to rely on to start with. Ben Davies is not the answer. Ben Davies has never been the answer. When we signed him 10 years ago, he wasn't the answer. He's not the answer 10 years older. But I don't know what much more he can do other than trying to change the shape a little bit, trying to change some of the creativity. But as Rain says, we ain't got no creativity. If Kudus doesn't do something, we got none. And Kudus didn't do anything, so we had none. Which midfield maestro was he going to bring on to supply creativity? Who is this player that apparently we've got that's going to come on and change the game? I actually think Odegaard was the best option. That doesn't mean he's a good option. But of the players I can think of that ilk, he probably was the best option because he's probably the best left-sided winger we got, which is an indictment of how bad our left wingers are.
It is.
So, you know, Paulinho, he brought him on to try and he probably brought Paulinho on because he didn't want to go further behind.
Can you imagine if we lost 6-0? Can you imagine? They would be like. I mean, it was bad enough, but can you imagine what today would have been like if we'd lost 6-0?
Frank has not got the tactical flexibility, and I don't mean that he hasn't got the tactics. I mean he hasn't got the tactical flexibility in the squad to make these kind of sweep-in changes to the forward line that's going to make us from not creating anything to creating loads, because we just don't have the personnel for it. And the only thing he could have done, I suppose, is, like I say, put on every striker we've got, right? Bring on Tell, keep Richarlison on, bring on Tell, right? And then instruct the whole team to just pump it long. What else? What else would he have done? What else could he have done, Dermo? And if he would have started doing that at the 60-minute mark, he would have been chastised for doing that. Spurs playing long ball? No way. That's not the Tottenham way. Don't just hit and hope, right? Got to pass it on the floor and all that. With these players, you're going to pass it on the floor. With who?
Well, they couldn't do that. That was the fundamental problem of yesterday.
Yeah. You can't do it. No, so I'm not saying Frank's can't be criticised. He can, but I also think that you can only use what the tools that you've got. And the big criticism last year for Ange, there's that a lot of it was on him, and I think a lot of it was on him. But I will say this: that's 2 managers in a row now who have got us in the bottom half of the table, and it's looking like we're going to have another bad bottom half finish unless something miraculous happens. So even me, who is Ange out and always will be Ange out, maybe we can put this stuff about getting a new manager again and again to bed. I think that the proof is in the pudding that most of these managers probably are half decent. They're not amazing, and the manager's only got so much power, Dermo. And unless you find this once in a lifetime manager like a Ferguson or stuff like that,
Or Wenger,
these once in a generation, or the special ones, as Mourinho called himself. Every other manager who's a good manager is just not going to be. Just can't make the changes required because they're not miracle workers, dude. I know, but we still expect there to be we're still doing it. We're still doing it. Oh, let's bring Xavi in. He's the Messiah. He's the miracle worker. And then when Xavi fails, let's get Glasner. He'll be the miracle worker. No, they're not. They're not miracle workers. They're flawed. They're flawed men who can only do so much. They can't stop these players doing what they do. Sorry, I know it sounds defeatist, but I feel defeated. I'm afraid. I am defeated. Don't know if Dermo's still there. He's gone black.
I don't know, but I will just say that I don't think Frank has got any choice to do except what he's currently doing. He cannot. I know as fans we want him to. I mean, that Archie Gray thing, I thought that was horrendous. What he said there, I really don't think that was very good. He cannot criticize his own players in public. Do you remember? I'm sure everybody remembers Conte started doing it, and everybody said you cannot do that. You cannot air this stuff in public. You cannot. And Frank can't do that. Frank cannot come out and say, I'm desperate. I mean, he said that he wants us to be active in January. But what he can't do is come out and go, we need to be active in January because I'm sick and tired of having to play with Richarlison up top and seeing the way that he plays. He cannot say that.
Of course, not.
One, because we won't get rid of him if people actually, if people listen to him. We won't get rid of Richarlison. And 2, because, there is an inkling that you do get a performance out of Richarlison every now and again. So, and that would destroy it. It would probably destroy the dressing room as well. He has to be on the player's side, just like Ange was.
He's got to retain also, Rain. He can't, if he throws Richarlison under the bus, for example, he probably already knows privately, right? Between discussions with him and Paratici and players like that, he's probably thinking, we can probably get a big upgrade on Richarlison. So let's try and sell him for the max value, right? So if he throws Richarlison under the bus, it literally cuts his price in half from any potential suitor.
Doesn't just cut his price in half, cuts any chance of us actually selling him in half.
Unless Richarlison feels so slighted that he just needs to go out of it. I mean, I'm not saying this should be the way, because you shouldn't be kind of scaremongering a player out, right? That's not a good moral thing to do. But unless he just thinks that I'm going to throw this guy under the bus, I'm going to throw him and let him train with the under-21s. I'm going to make his life as miserable as hell. just so he'll leave to the first offer he gets, even if it's Saudi, where obviously he doesn't particularly want to go.
Yeah.
Just so he gets out. And some people might say, well, that is what you do, Rain. That is how you get them out. You make their life a hell.
That's like I said, in the summer, that's what I would have done to Basuma, but I would have done it privately. I would have gone to him and I would have, and in January, I would go to Richarlison, and I would get the transfer team to go to Richarlison, and I would get them to say, look, we are looking to bring another player in. The intention is that you are not we're going to be very, very happy for you to move on, and we don't want you here anymore. And I would just however they say it, and try and be as brutal as they possibly can. With Basuma in the summer, I would have just said, you're not going to be listed. You need to get out of this club. You need to tell your agent to find yourself another club. We will accept 10 million for you. And in my head, I would have accepted 5, and told him just find another club because you're not going to be listed here. So
the problem, though, Rain, very quickly. The problem with that is, though, I don't know how much Basuma's on. I'll take a punt and let's say 50k a week or something, right? I hope it's not more than that. Wow. Probably more like 80 or something. Who is going to get this dude who has not been great on the pitch anyway and has all this baggage that we know that he's got? Who in their right mind is going to give him the same contract he's on at Spurs?
So there's rumours today that Bissouma is interesting Nice and Marseille. And they're
not going to. The French league won't generally. That there's not that much money. They're not going to pay 80 grand a week for Bissouma, are they? They can't. They're not going to pay him that.
They might do if the transfer fee is 0. My printer's just started.
That's Bissouma's lawyers sending you.
Oh, I see what it is. So it's going to be a very, very interesting. It's going to be a very, very interesting January. I'm reading this bit of Frank's press conference. It's quite a long one. I'm going to read it out.
Okay.
It says people would understand the up and down results a bit, but it still feels like the floor of this team is very low. Do you agree? That's a question to Frank. And the answer was, I think that is a fair assessment. Unfortunately, that's something we need to work very hard on, that these setbacks can't affect us that much. I'm pretty sure when I watched the game, when did we concede the first goal? 28 minutes. I think when I watch it back, it was probably not that bad until the first goal. So it can't be one goal that makes it so disjointed for 15 minutes. It can't happen. You can have a day where it's not perfect. How many games have you seen where it's not perfect? Then you find your way into it. Then you maybe draw 1-1, win 2-1 in the second half, where you eat your way into it. That's just ongoing work we need to work so hard on. He's not wrong. I mean, if you think about, if I reflect on the Arsenal game against Wolves, they didn't play very well at all. Arsenal, actually, I would say Wolves were the better team. And yet Arsenal
I've just got to jump off for a minute, guys. I will be back on. Okay, so I'll be back on 2 minutes. All right, sorry.
Right. And I would say that Wolves for much of the game were the better team. So Frank is right. This team needs to find a way to be resilient and to eke out results. Unfortunately, that does mean not making silly errors. And we keep on making errors. We keep on making mistakes.
I agree. The only thing that I would like to know is, I mean, he's talking about how it was okay for the first 15 minutes or whatever. I'd like to know what our XG was by that point. So whilst we didn't concede a goal, I'm not sure I would say it was okay. Unless, and maybe this is insight into the man himself and how he approaches his football. He might think that having a low XG at the 0.15 mark, at the 15-minute mark, is okay. Maybe for him away from home against Forest, that's what he wanted. He was okay with it. I'm not saying that a draw away to Forest. I think they've got. Like I said, I think they're in a bit of a false position. So I'm not saying a draw away to Forest is anything to be ashamed of. It's not with what we are, but it is a little bit of an insight with that low XG to kind of think to yourself, well, okay, he seems to think that was adequate. And I think if you ask most Spurs fans, that even though the actual draw as a result would have been maybe acceptable, that low an XG again, I don't think that way of doing it every game, Rain, they ain't going to fly. And if he thinks that is going to fly, then he is going to be out of the job because it won't fly much longer. And that would worry me a little bit.
It's certainly not going to fly with Vicario at the back making mistakes. Is my point. It's if we keep it away from home, if we keep it tight first half, like we did at Newcastle, right? At Newcastle, we kept it tight first half. We kind of saw the game through, and then we went for it second half, and it was a bonkers game. Ended up 2-2. And fans can get on board with that. What we can't get on board with is a 0.37. Like to your point, Keita, we can't get on board with a 0.37 xG, and playing. Pragmatic football, because the first inclination is we're not getting high XG because we're playing pragmatic football, but that's not actually that's not the reality. The reason we're not getting high XG is because our players are just playing rubbish.
Yeah, want to say big up to the God, my seat's shrunk. My seat's gone down. I feel a bit lower. I want to say big up to the Mum Overlord. Big up, Stacey. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for 3 months of being a member. Absolutely, really appreciate all your support and all the loyalty you've shown to the channel, and also talking to me as well. So thank you so much, and I hope you're doing well. And big up to Jess and everyone. Yes, Irish Rebel is in the house. Yes, she is. Big up to the Irish Rebel. Big up to Colin as well. It says afternoon, guys. Well, are we just finishing up then? Is that the crack then? Yeah.
Yeah. We just covered the last part of the press conference, mate.
Okay. Just one more thing. Just to let you guys know, I did this last night. The few players that should be back. We've got Tataki's back in mid-December. He should be back then. We've got, of course, James Manson's back in the summer of 2026. I did have more, but hang on. Oh, here we go. I've done it wrong. All right. Solanke ankle. Frank refused to put a time frame in his most recent update. We've got your doggies back in early January. We've got Kulu's back in late December 2025. We've got Dragson knee mid-December 2025. And also we've got Taki thigh mid-December 2025. And also stop that. And also they're the latest guys. So look, let's get a score prediction for Saturday. I'm sure we are going to do plenty of that during the week. So, Tequila, score prediction for Saturday.
3-1 Liverpool.
Ooh, interesting. Rain?
It's home.
Right. Do I be sensible or do I go with my heart? Hang on. What do I do? Do you know what? I think we're going to turn up, going for a 2-0 Tottenham win. I think we're going to turn up against Liverpool.
That would make my Saturday.
That's true, yeah. I think Rain would love that to
Right,
be the case.
So, look, guys, we're going to end off there. Thank you all for watching. Rain, where can people find you, bud?
Here, few times a week, various other channels, but mainly on this lovely channel.
Thank you. And as my headphones do die a death, everything's gone wrong tonight. Tequila, where can people find you, bud?
You can find me on here, obviously, guys, and I am on the Play Pouch Gaming channel. We've got a couple more shows coming over Christmas and pre-records for you until the end of the year, so please join us on the Play Pouch. Cheers.
Right. Okay, hang on. I'm just going. Yeah, I can't actually hear anyone at the moment. Hang on. Right.
Okay.
Right, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Right. Okay. So, have you done the Play Pouch and that?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's all good.
Okay. And we've got a super chat in here for Jerome. If they turn up against Liverpool, then those players are okay. Jerome, I totally agree with you 100%. Do you want anything to say to Jerome Tequila? I think he's right on that, by the way. Absolutely spot on.
If they turn up against Liverpool, then those players are a disgrace.
Yeah.
Well, do they turn up for the big games only then, Demo? They didn't turn up for Chelsea or Arsenal. They did for PSG. Well, a little bit. But...
Did they?
And Man City. And
yeah. But big up Jerome for the €5 super chat. I really appreciate it, bud. We all do in the channel. So thank you so much. But look, guys, that is the end of the Forest Tottenham embarrassing no fight, no passion, clueless show. I don't think we're on tomorrow unless I fancy doing something solo and just doing something mad. But we are back Wednesday with the fan show. So we are going to come back Wednesday with that. So if you're a member, do use your memberships. Get on. The memberships will be put into the member post. And come on, have you say all thing about Spurs. And then Thursday, we've got the return of the Irish Lads Talk Spurs with me and Dave Harris. Thursday night, we've got a sort of build up to Liverpool. We're going to try to go over players who are here, who should be playing and that. And then Friday, all the build up. And then Saturday, we've got predicted lineups live at 1:00 as we build up to the Liverpool game. And then then we've got all your match day stuff. And Sunday, we have player rating show. 8:00, Jerome. 8:00 on Wednesday, mate. So do join us for that. Big up to you, Jerome. It will be in there. Big up to Jerome. We'll take it there. But we will end it there. Thank you all for watching. Please like, please subscribe. And whatever you do, enjoy your night. Sorry about the sort of chaotic end. I had stuff to sort out in the background. So I'm sorry I was off and on. But big up to Tequila for taking over and Rain as well. Guys, we'll speak to you later.
Eyes on the